Former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari dies at 82. Former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has died at the age of 82 in a London clinic. Gabra Shehu, his former presidential spokesman, confirmed that Buhari passed away while receiving treatment. Buhari, the former military ruler turned civilian president, leaves behind a complex legacy marked by historic victories, high expectations, and widespread controversy. Austere and reserved, Buhari was never known as a natural politician, but he enjoyed a reputation for personal integrity, an uncommon trait in Nigerian politics. He returned to power in 2015 after 3 failed attempts, becoming the first opposition candidate in Nigeria's history to defeat an incumbent president. He was re-elected in 2019 and served 2 full terms, from 2015 to 2023. Despite his campaign promises to bring change, tackle corruption, and defeat insurgency, Buhari struggled to deliver on many of his pledges. His tenure coincided with a global oil slump and one of Nigeria's worst economic crises in decades. The country also witnessed rising insecurity, including the continued threat of Boko Haram and its Islamic State-affiliated faction, deadly clashes between farmers and Fulani herders, and mass abductions by armed groups in the northwest. Buhari, himself a Fulani, was often criticized for failing to act decisively on the herder-farmer conflict. His government also faced global condemnation after security forces were accused of human rights abuses, including the shooting of peaceful protesters at the Lekki tollgate in Lagos during the #EndSARS demonstrations in October 2020. Who was Muhammadu Buhari? Born in December 1942 in Daura, Katsina State, then under British colonial rule, Buhari came from a modest background. His father, who died when Buhari was just 4 years old, was of Fulani heritage, while his mother was Kanuri. Buhari was his father's 23rd child and his mother's 13th. In interviews, he recalled only one memory of his father being thrown off a horse with one of his half-brothers. Buhari received his early education in Daura and Katsina before enrolling in the Nigerian Military Training College. He continued his officer training in the United Kingdom between 1962 and 1963, beginning a steady climb through the ranks of the Nigerian army. In 1966, Nigeria was rocked by a series of military coups, but Buhari maintained he was too junior to have had any real involvement. By the mid-1970s, however, he had become the military governor of the Northeast and later served as Federal Commissioner for Petroleum under General Olusegun Obasanjo in 1976. Buhari made headlines in 1983 when he led a tough military response to the annexation of Nigerian islands in Lake Chad by Chadian forces. Later that year, following a coup against President Shehu Shagari, Buhari, then a Major General, emerged as Nigeria's new military head of state. Although he claimed he was not among the plotters, other accounts suggest he played an active role. He ruled for 20 months in a period remembered for both its anti-corruption drive and its human rights abuses. His war against indiscipline became infamous for ordering Nigerians to form queues at bus stops under the watch of whip-wielding soldiers. Civil servants who arrived late at work were publicly punished with frog jumps. Buhari also cracked down on the press and jailed critics, including legendary musician Fela Kuti, under questionable charges. His austerity measures, including a sudden currency redesign, caused widespread job losses, inflation, and hardship. These unpopular policies contributed to his eventual ousting in August 1985 by General Ibrahim Babangida. Buhari was imprisoned for 40 months. The civilian comeback. Following years in political obscurity, Buhari made a return to civilian politics in the 2000s, contesting presidential elections in 2003 and 2007. Though unsuccessful, he gained growing support among Nigeria's northern poor, known in Hausa as the Talakawa. By 2015, Buhari had consolidated opposition forces under the All Progressives Congress, APC, and won the presidency in a landmark election. His military background and tough image gave many Nigerians hope that he would restore security, root out corruption, and revive the economy. But while Buhari retained a strong personal reputation for honesty, many felt his administration fell short. The economic downturn, deepening poverty, rising youth unemployment, and worsening security undermined his promises. His perceived slowness in decision-making and limited public engagement also drew criticism. Final days and burial. Buhari passed away 2 years after leaving office. President Bola Tinubu has ordered Vice President Kashim Shettima to travel to the United Kingdom to accompany Buhari's body back to Nigeria for burial. He will be laid to rest according to Islamic rites. Political leaders and dignitaries across Nigeria are expected to pay their respects. Muhammadu Buhari's legacy remains a subject of national debate. To his supporters, he was a man of discipline and integrity who tried to clean up Nigeria's political system. To his critics, he was an authoritarian figure who failed to bring the very change he promised.